Bonjour! So our podcast title is Wine Over Heartache, and it's going to be presented to you by
Jennifer Nguyen,
Melissa Mazariegos,
and Tamle Nguyen. Let's begin!
begin!
Wine. Wine is an alcoholic beverage made from fermented grape juice. There's no specific link on where wine came from, since it is influenced by many parts of the world. Dating back all the way to China, Iran, Armenia, but the increase of consumption and production was made popular from the Europeans. For the list of wine, there is red wine and white wine. Wine is made from red and white grapes. While fermenting it, red wine is the whole grape itself, and white wine is only the liquid, just the grape juice. Now, let's go step by step on how to make wine. 1. Crush the grape and collect the juice. 2. Ferment it in a controlled environment. For white wine, it is preferably in a cooler environment just to preserve the fruity and fresh flavor. Depending on the sugar content that is added in, the alcoholic content does increase. From that, white wine has a yellow to brownish color, and red wine has a darker color. And last step, filter and bottle them so they can be preserved for a long time. Now that we've gone over how it's made and where it's from, did you know that the aroma and the flavor of the wine give it its value? Pairing the wine. For our red wine list, there is Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Merlot, Pinot Noir, and Cabernet, which came from the leading countries of winemaking: Spain, America, and France, which started from the French paradox. Globally, French has the lowest heart disease compared to everyone else. When you think of wine, you think of a fancy meal paired alongside. But good wine needs no fancy schmancy. The taste of the aging wine give it its value. In the case that we are talking about, it is the value that it gives to our body. Recommended amount is 130 to 250 milliliter per day. It helps maintain the heart activity and blood pressure. A glass of red wine a day keeps the heartache away. The research article, Moderate Red Wine Consumption and Cardiovascular Disease Risk Beyond the French Paradox, and Molecular Properties of Red Wine Compounds and Cardiometabolic Benefits will help explain the health benefits of consuming red wine on the cardiovascular system and how it is able to reduce any complications.
The effects of light to moderate red wine intake can be beneficial to the prevention of cardiovascular disease. The major components of wine are alcohol, specifically ethanol, which is the biggest amount in wine. This alcohol is converted by the sugars through the process of fermentation. If it goes through a standard process of fermentation, it can potentially reach from 14 or 15%. But typically it ranges between 10 to 13, depending on the sugar content of the grape, the temperature, and the yeast strain. Another component of wine is the polyphenolic compound, flavonoids and non-flavonoids. These gives the flavoring, coloring, taste, mouthfeel, fragrance, and the antimicrobial properties of the beverage. It comes from the skin and seeds of the grape. With the production of the yeast metabolism, or the wood copperage from the fermentation process. Another major component is the resveratrol. It is a natural occurring substance by the plant tissue responding from the contact from the parasite to inhibit the growth from the parasite. It is found from the grapes vine of the grapes. It is a major factor influencing the production in the fermentation process. These components make wine beneficial that helps decrease the progression of cardiovascular disease, such as arteriogenesis, the formation of the substance in the inner layer of the artery wall or blood vessels, which can lead to further problems such as arteriosclerosis, the clogging or the hardening of the arteries or blood vessels from fats and other substances, but typically from cholesterol. Red wine helps this by increasing the cholesterol efflux, which is the outflow of cholesterol in the vessel. It can also decrease the oxidative stress and the lipoprotein oxidation, and by also decreasing the blood pressure due to the resveratrol and the alcohol in the beverage. Red wine can also be beneficial to people with high blood pressure. A McFadden study it showed that when an individual has a consistent intake of red wine, specifically 1 glass, the effect can lead to the reduction of blood pressure after hours of the consumption. Another benefit that was found in wine was the decrease of vessel circulation, the occurring of the blockage in the vessel. Red wine can manipulate the influence by the trigger that trigger the vasodilation from happening by decreasing the plasma viscosity, which data shows the correlation of alcohol lowering the thickness of the blood. And with evidence from a single blind cross study, it was determined that when consuming at least 4 milliliters per kilogram of red wine per day, it can increase the flow of mediated dilation. And with the help of resveratrol, red wine helps the decrease of platelet aggregation, further preventing vessel osculation from happening. The effects does not just only help with cardiovascular disease, but other preventions as well, such as cancer preventions. Due to the polyphenolic compounds found in red wine, it can provide antioxidants or anti-cancer properties to prevent cancer. All these major factors, polyphenolic compounds, resveratrol, and alcohol, have effect down to even the cellular level, have a great impact in the various factors, providing a greater prevention of cardiovascular diseases.
Thanks, Melissa. Light to moderate consumption of red wine helps cholesterol oxidation. Taking red wine gives rise to peroxidate 1, which is an enzyme that helps reduce the low-density lipid proteins, LDL cholesterol, and increases high lipid proteins, HDL cholesterol. The article, Molecular Properties of Red Wine Compounds and Cardiometabolic Benefits, did a study on patients that had abnormal levels of cholesterol and fat in their blood. They had the subjects drink red wine for 30 days at 150 milliliters per day. The outcome was a trend towards significance to decreasing the LDLs and HDL ratio levels. The LDLs lowered about 8% and HDLs increased 17%. Another study they did was having subjects consume red wine 150 milliliters per day at dinner for 2 years, every day for 2 years. However, the same results, the decreasing of the LDLs and the HDLs increasing. But wait, this doesn't always occur to every individual. They did another study. This time they used patients with multiple sclerosis, and these patients are consuming the same amount of wine, 100 milliliters per day, and for 4 weeks, and the findings were non-change in their cholesterol. A major component of red wine that helps with cardiovascular health is not the alcohol component of wine, it is the tannin. So if you take a glass of wine and you sip it, you can taste this bitterness, this dry in your tongue, your lips, and as well as your cheeks. And if you kind of take some air, you can take the aroma. Well, that's the tannin. Tannin is the natural and bitter substance that comes from the maceration of the skin of the grape and the aging of the oaks that the wine is kept in. It kind of feels like your tongue and your gums are kind of dry. Tannin are a plant-based polyphenol composed of a series of compounds containing highly antioxidant properties. A lot of people think of antioxidants in fruits and vegetables of high rich colors, but sometimes people kind of forget that the wine in itself is made out of grapes, and so it has antioxidant properties in wine, so that's a good thing. So we're going back to the word polyphenols and tannin. So polyphenols are micronutrients with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory mechanisms. Polyphenols help prevent cardiovascular disease and acts against free radicals that exploit cancer therapy. These molecules interact with cells and tissues adjacent to blood vessels, which takes direct effect on cell reproduction.
Now that we've gone through how red wine is made from fermenting whole grapes, how countries around the world influence the taste and style, and the varieties of red wine list, the whole picture of its background was presented to you.
We've gone over the three components in red wine, which are alcohol, polyphenolic compounds, and reservoirs that help with the prevention of fighting off cardiovascular disease, like the buildup of fat arteries and the lowering of blood pressure.
The light to moderate consumption of red wine and how it helps with cholesterol oxidation, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory mechanisms.
Those are just the health benefits of red wine for our hearts. Now, there are many more benefits that red wine actually has overall.
Like, it helps to stop cancer, fat control to achieve a slim body, brain activity for memories, control blood pressure, control blood sugar, fight off colds, and just to spice up your love life.
But spicing your love life doesn't just involve enjoying the red wine together during a dinner meal, but rather it helps prevent aging of our skin, restoring collagen and tissues. Do you want those pimples to be gone? Well, it also helps with acne control for better, beautiful, glowing skin. You're welcome.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, hold on.
What? Oh, wait, that's right. We talked about moderate to light consumption. So if you're drinking more than 2 glasses a day and drinking 2 days or two or more in 1 week, it's actually excessive alcohol, and which kind of concludes to being alcohol dependent. Alcohol dependent is considered alcoholism, so it has negative effects. You can also produce liver cirrhosis, which is a liver disease because of alcohol consumption. You can also get depression or higher risk of depression, weight gain, and can have a higher risk of death, which is a premature death because of alcohol, drinking too much alcohol.
But don't be alarmed.
Now, what are you waiting for? Go grab your favorite wine and have a glass with us. Cheers!
Cheers!